us give an enthusiastic, just over the top, okay? Over the top. Let's keep the momentum pumping, everyone. Over the top love and appreciation for our next storyteller, Suzanne, to the stage.
Thank you. It was December of 2020, and my husband and I were on our first trip with our 3-month-old daughter. We were headed to Florida to the beach, and typically this would be a very welcomed type of escape, just getting away from the cold winter months in Indiana. But this trip was different. Not only was I 3 months postpartum, but I was also grieving the loss of my twin sister, Melissa. A few months before this trip, she had suffered from postpartum psychosis, and she ended up taking her life only a week after her son was born. We were actually pregnant together at the same time. We gave birth to our children only 10 days apart. I look back at those 9 months and just think about how beautiful they were, and just cherish them so much. We did so much together, and we would go on long walks with our dogs. We were like waddling down the street as we got bigger and bigger, and we tried our best to do prenatal yoga and all these different things. And I remember when we would touch our bare bellies together in hopes that our babies could communicate in the womb, much like we did together in my mom's womb. So I really believe that this trip would be a good time to get away and to focus on my new baby, my husband, and just to really understand what had just happened. But it didn't go that way. The grief and the depression was really setting in, and the shock of everything was really wearing off. I couldn't stop thinking about Melissa. It was like every second of the day and every second of the night. And there was one night in particular that I remember being in bed with my husband. He was asleep, and my baby was asleep in her bassinet on the other side of the wall. And I was laying there and thinking about how much I wanted to end my life. And I wanted to end my life because I desperately felt as though I belonged with Melissa. Like I needed to get to her. I needed to be with her. I got up from the bed and I went out through the sliding glass doors and onto the balcony. And I don't know how long it was, if it was 10 minutes, 10 hours, but it was just like my mind was racing. It was like this logical part of me fighting with this other side that just wanted to end things and be with her again. And I looked out to the ocean, and it was just pitch black. I could hear the waves, I could smell the salt air, but I couldn't see anything. And I walked up to the railing. I felt the railing in my hands. And in that moment, I heard my baby cry from inside. I ran back inside. I calmed her down. I got her back to sleep, and I got in bed with my husband and tried to sleep the rest of the evening. A few days later, I'm back home, and I have a checkup appointment with my doctor. This was the first time I was seeing her since she had delivered my baby girl. I was so nervous. I was anxious. I was sweaty. I knew that when I saw her that I would have to explain everything that I was feeling. She came into the room and she sat down. She asked me how I was doing, and just everything, I could just feel it all coming up to the surface and just coming out. And I cried, and I told her about the balcony. I told her about these thoughts, and she listened and listened. And when I was done, she said to me very seriously, "Suzanne, I think you need to be on medication. I think you need to go on an antidepressant." And I was very hesitant when she said that, because it was something that I never wanted to accept or to do. I was scared that it would somehow alter my personality. It would change who I was. It would, worst part of anything, it would numb my feelings of my sister and my memories of her. But I knew I needed to do something. So as we were wrapping up and before she left the room, I remember everything kind of slowed down and she looked at me and I looked at her, and we were both wearing our masks and we looked into each other's eyes. We were forced to look at each other, really. And she said, "You know, Suzanne, I just have to tell you that you're so worthy of this life and that you should be here with your daughter." And when she said that, it was like this weight had lifted and that I knew that I was going to be okay. So it's been a year and a half since I've been on medication, and I'm so grateful that it's worked so well. I'm finally feeling positive and more hopeful about my life, and that I'm worthy of this life, and that I should be here. Thank you.